Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I have never played Grixis on the channel, but I am going to play it, and I was able to pick up the third volcanic island that I needed, so thank you to everybody who endured me grinding a whole lot to get enough tickets to do this. First, let's talk about the list. So this list comes directly from Ecobaronen. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's a prolific streamer, creator on YouTube, and he has like one Eternal Weekend, and he's a very accomplished Magic the Gathering player. And I just looked at his list and I watched him do a league, and I was like, this list is really solid. I don't have any major changes that I would make to it. So I was like, I'm just going to run his list verbatim. Okay, let's talk about the list. So first, we do have the traditional Delver kind of shell, but we don't have Delver. In Delver's place, we have 3 Tamiyo. And Tamiyo kind of functions as a Delver by giving you inevitability on a different axis. But DRC is too powerful and it pairs too well with Murktide. We can't cut the DRC. That's the reason to play red is DRC. So red does give us access to Molten Collapse, which is a nice answer to really big fatties that our opponents put out. Of course, we've still got Brazen Borrow, which is our other answer to problematic permanents. It's worth noting that Molten Collapse can hit cards like Carpet of Flowers, which is potentially painful. So we're down to 2 Lightning Bolts. I think is fine. Fatal Push is way better right now than Lightning Bolt. We're playing 4 Fatal Pushes. So if you do the math, it's like 7 removal spells. That's a lot of respect for creatures. In terms of just getting Delirium here, we do have 3 Mishra's Baubles, 1 Nile Spellbomb main deck, and we've, of course, got the 4 Psychic Frogs. Ecobaronen, like Max Thorson and myself and a lot of other players, is kind of a 3 days truther. We prefer to just play 3 days instead of 4, but he is playing the full 4 Wastelands here. And the mana base is squeaky clean, 9 fetches, 6 fetchables, 4 Wasteland, not nary a basic insight. Let's talk about the sideboard. The sideboard is one of the most powerful aspects of this, and it's where red really comes in. We got 3 Pyroblasts for opposing Murktides, Frogs, countering people's Force of Wills, all kinds of stuff. We've got another Nile Spellbomb here. We've got 2 Price of Progress. This is really our anti-Eldrazi tech. You can do a lot of damage very quickly for 2 mana. And yes, you don't have any basics either. You're going to take some damage, but the goal is for them to be dead and you to still have some life after this resolves. We've got 2 Bowmasters. It occurred to me last night that like 2 Bowmasters seems to be the standard amount for most sideboards, and that I've perhaps been putting excessive amounts of Orcish Bowmasters. I've been playing 4 in a lot of my decks. I love this card, but I can definitely see Ecobaronen's point that 2 is probably plenty. We do have 2 Force Negations out of respect for combo, and 3 Consign to Memory out of respect for Eldrazi. Let's get to the games. We're going to play a full 5 matches as always. And as always, I encourage you to leave a comment with a timestamp if you notice me doing anything weird. Like, hey, why didn't you do this? Are you blind? Or why didn't you do this? Are you dumb? Like that is helpful. Like, but don't phrase it like that. But basically tell me what you think I should have done. And then I can learn, and everybody in the audience can click that timestamp and see, and they can say, yeah, I agree. Be Excellent shouldn't have, shuffled that ponder, or Be Excellent missed lethal, or whatever it is. Right. And because the whole reason I'm creating these videos is to get better as a player and to help you get better. I am not a pro player. I've not won Eternal Weekend before like Ecobaronen, right? So I am still on my hero's journey, my upward arc, and I'm hoping that you can be on that arc alongside me, and together we can vault into the stratosphere with our piloting skills. See you in round 1. All right, we're back for round 1 against HelloNewton, famous for having created the Cradle Control deck. They're probably on some variation of that. This is a good hand. We had to mull our first hand because it was a no-lander. I think all these cards are good. I don't need the second bauble. I'm going to put it back. It's an X Factor. It could be a great card. It could be a dead card. I guess it's always going to be the top card. But in terms of achieving Delirium, we only need 1. So I'm going to keep this. We're going to put the bauble on the bottom. And I just want to preface this with I've never played this deck before. I did play Delver at a weekly here in Dallas like a year and a half ago, and I got completely destroyed. So it's a hard deck to pilot. It's deceptively difficult. I'm going to go ahead and start by just looking at their top card. I don't think there's any reason not to do this. All right. It is another Noble Hierarch. That's good to know. I think we just want to probably Island Ponder and look for removal. Yep. And I'll just save this in case I need to shuffle later. So we actually are going to draw all 3 of these cards if we keep them. And I think it's totally fine to keep these. These aren't removal, but Murktide can... do we keep this? Dragon Rage Channeler is pretty damn good. I feel like we don't need the land. We can keep the land in case we need it, but I don't think we're going to need it. Well, actually, so we're going to draw a card off the Ponder. We're going to draw a card off the Opal. I'm going to shuffle because I would like to find Fatal Push or Lightning Bolt. All right, we found another Wasteland, which isn't super useful. Let's pass. So next turn, I'm almost certainly going to Frog, so I don't want to have the days here if I can avoid it. Let's see what we rip off this. Another Psychic Frog. Okay, we're going to Frog Town. Population 2. All right, White of the Reliquary. We can't do anything about this. We really need our Fatal Push. Or Lightning Bolt will technically do it here. Oh, no. I don't like this card. I think we have to stop this. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop it. It's like really oppressive because it basically makes all our removal like terrible. So we do have a window to draw a Fatal Push or a Bolt here. That's not going to do it. Options. I think our only good option is to just play this out just as waste insurance, like prevent them from being able to waste it because we do need to get to 2 mana. Yeah, this game's slipping away. I mean, we were on the draw. We had a mulligan and no lander. It already wasn't looking super good. Wasting their deck is probably fruitless because they have so much mana and they have the ability to get more. Is this another white? What is this? Springheart and Tuco. Oh no. And they have a land, so they can start making copies of these. Pretty catastrophic. I mean, we could brainstorm into a force. What are we doing if we let this resolve? I think we're dying if we let this resolve because they could just take their time and like play a land, and like even 2 of those is a catastrophe. So I'm going to get my black source here. I am going to brainstorm, and I'm going to hope to hit a force. Fatal Push will still get rid of this, but the Springheart and Antuco will live on. Okay. We didn't get what we wanted. I think I'm going to put both these back. We'll redraw one. Yep. Yeah, it was not a perfect brainstorm, but I think, we're on our back foot, and it's like a defensive thing. Okay, so they can phase something out. They are going to get a land drop, and they are going to be able to pay to create a copy of this white. Because it's like 1 green, 1 colorless, and instead of getting an insect, they get a full-on additional white of the Reliquary. This is really strong. So they can hit us for 4, and they, 5. Yeah, because of the Exalted trigger. And they still have like some pretty powerful recourse here. Our Murktide is going to quickly be outclassed by these. I think we do want to find... So I think it's worth pondering to find removal rather than trying to... They're not currently in a situation... Well, let's see. Sacrifice another creature. Search your library for a land card. Put it into the battlefield tapped. Shuffle. So this... so they can phase out in response to our removal. This is getting really nasty really quickly, and we're trying to think if there's even anything we can do here, because like they can just respond by sacking this and getting another Talon Gate to phase this out. If we play out the Frog, we could invest heavily and it could get bigger. I think our only path to victory here involves getting a Frog out, pitching a lot of cards to it, and we don't like the Wasteland on top, so I am going to fetch here. I'm going to go get another Volk. And I think, we're going to play out a Frog. We're going to pitch everything but the Murktide, and we're going to hope that Murktide and Frog together can somehow hold the fort. I don't think that's likely, but it's the best plan I've got. Also worth noting that they can, phase out Frog. They can do lots of stuff because this Talon's Gate card is very good, and they can go get it at instant speed effortlessly. So next turn, we're looking at, not quite a full-size Murktide. Let's see what they're getting here. Guy's Cradle. Okay, this creates an insect, and then now they can create a whole bunch of these Night of the Reliquary. Scary Town. We wanted to be in Frog Town, but now we're in Scary Town. Yep, and that's going to be another White of the Reliquary. Oh, goodness. I'm trying to think of like a hierarch. Natural order. Let's see what this is. I mean, this is like comical at this point. Like, we're so dead, it's not even funny. They're just dancing on our grave. We'll see more of the deck. They do tinker a little bit with the build. I mean, they pioneered the entire archetype. Crater Hoof, so we're dead. Yeah, I was hoping they get a Trax and we get to see more of their deck, but yep. That was brutal. This is not a favorable matchup, by the way. The best way to think about it is fair blue decks like our deck usually lose to fair non-blue decks because a lot of our deck is dedicated toward beating combo, and their deck is, basically just kind of like accepts that they're going to have a bad combo matchup. Okay, so cards that are good. I think Bowmasters is good because of the high volume of 1-drops. They do have a few mana dorks in their deck. Cards that are bad. Well, I would certainly say that Force Will is not at its best here. Going down a card to potentially stop a card is pretty bad. That said, we don't really have anything else we need to board in. I don't think Prize of Progress is particularly good. Yeah, we just don't have anything for this matchup, do we? Nile Spellbomb is better than Mishra's Bauble just because it can potentially kill their graveyard and weaken their... yeah, but it's pretty bad, really. Like, I don't think it's a good card. Yeah, here's what I think we do. I think we leave the Force in and we just take out this Nile Spellbomb. I just don't think it's good enough. Now, Pokimoki will swear that Nile Spellbomb is good against this match. And I don't want to put words in his mouth. He might be watching. Sometimes he watches. But he said that like a lot of times he can surprise by taking points off of like a, what's it called? There's a creature. It's like a 1/1 Fiend Artisan. That's it. But I don't even know if people are playing Fiend Artisan anymore because, white is so strong. So, yeah, I think we just do it like this. It's a very small change. The big change being that we're on the play, which is a big deal. All right. This is strong. We've got our DRC and directly into Bobble, so we can hopefully get the juice loose with Dragon's Rage Channeler. And then we can potentially wasteland one of their lands. And we have Borrower, which is just general purpose, good removal. I think we keep this. All right, so I'm going to open Volk, DRC, Bobble, and then I'm going to hope to find another blue source so that we can get Frog out. All right, they are F6'd over there. We're going to get to peek at the top of their library. This is removal, but I'd rather just keep moving forward. Yeah, I'm going to put it in the graveyard. Because I want to hit Delirium, as soon as possible. So they got a green sun on top. It's good to know about. Let's pass. Also, Bolt is not a mountain, or I'm sorry, it's not a underground sea or a fetch. There we go. There's our fetch. Okay, so we are going to be able to go into Frogtown next turn. And DRC is so much better at filling up the graveyard than basically any card ever printed because you're just constantly putting things in your graveyard whenever you cast a spell. So, a non-creature spell. So we should be able to get to Delirium pretty quickly. I'm actually considering frogging and then discarding the Borrower so that we can get DRC Delirious. So let's go red. Or I'm sorry. Got to get used to my colors here. Let's go blue, black, drop the frog. I do think we can... Yeah, if I discard this, then I do have 3 types and I can attack for 3. I'm going to do it. It has to attack. Fight Club style. All right, they're taking 3. We've got our clock under us. Almost all the removal in their deck, they may have Fatal or a Snuff Out, but there's a good chance that they don't really have anything they can do to stop our deck. Okay, that is not as scary, but that is pretty scary. We're going to have to waste that next turn for sure. Here's the white that I was worried about. luckily we can kind of overpower. Okay, they're going to get a land here. All right. Okay, so they can sack lands, and let's see, this gets +1/+1 for each creature in your graveyard. Okay, so they can sack this to make this bigger. That's worth noting. All right, Ponder is a card type. It also buffs Murktide. I think I'm going to start with a Ponder, because if I can find... What am I looking for here? I mean, I might as well cast this and replace it. Bolt. We might be able to get them to sack the forest or this if we do cast a bolt, and then we can waste the Cradle and surprise them with how little mana they have. I think that's okay, but I do have to kind of make a decision here whether we're going to find a Fatal Push or a Bolt. I think we've already put a Bolt in the graveyard, so I do think Fatal Push is the most likely find. This is a Bolt, which I'm just going to put in our graveyard. Is that right? Yeah, because we do want to find the Fatal Push here. We didn't find it. I am actually okay. Am I okay with a Force at this point? I feel like they have the natural order they have it. Let's see. How much mana are they going to have? They're going to basically have 1, 2. That's it. And then maybe a third. So I think we shuffle this. The other option is we keep it and we brainstorm. I think that's fine. Okay. Because we're basically just trying to fill up our graveyard. So next turn we can Murk. I'm going to go ahead and do this now. Sorcery speed it. We'll put that in our graveyard. My goal is to have a whole lot of card types so I can keep Delirium. Okay. So I think Wasteland is not the worst. Second. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put this back. I'll put this back. And I'll put this back and I'll put this back. So I'm drawing Wasteland. I'm going to go ahead and waste now. They can sack it to give something, that's fine. Okay. And now, I think we can attack in with the intention of pitching some cards. I don't think we give flight. Do we give flight? I'm fine if they block this. I don't really need the cards. And I can pitch. If they multi-block, that's okay. Again, I'm playing like really slowly and carefully because I'm new to the deck. So if you're like, why is it taking so long to make such basic decisions? They're not basic to me. But I'm hoping to get better with this deck because I was very impressed with just the efficiency, like this one drop that hits for 3, All right. I think it's fine. I'm just going to pass. They can't use white yet, so this is going to die. And they have 1 mana. Well, they have 2 technically. They've got the other card too. They're sacking it to... Okay, that doesn't make any difference. All right. So if you think that I should have aggressively tried to fly in to get damage, definitely let me know in the comments. My thinking is it's not going to matter too much once I get this Murktide on the table, hopefully. Phasing out the Murktide will not get rid of the counters on it. All right, they're going to have 3 mana. Is this going to be something I need to force? Green Sun Zenith for 1. What could this be? This could be the Elvish Reclaimer is probably the most likely thing. I think we let it happen because if they get an Elvish Reclaimer, they don't have a lot of land anyway. We did kind of telegraph that we have a force by like pausing for a second to think about that. Yep, there's Elvish Reclaimer. Another Green Sun. Okay, they're going to get another Dryad Arbor. They are going to be able to go get a Cradle here, which is a lot of mana. If their last card is Natural Order, we're pretty screwed. This is fine. I'll just take 3 or 4. We're winning this race. All right. So here's what I think we do. I think we probably just waste this. They can sack it in response. Yeah, that's not particularly strong. I'm not sure that we even play out the land. Maybe we just fly over and hit them. I think I'm going to start by playing this out. And I just need to be careful not to give up Delirium. So we do have... Yeah, I'm going to make this a full-size Murktide. We're going to exile 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we have land, creature sorcery. I guess I'll just not make him a full size. I'll make him full size later. Okay, so this is coming in. Now we can go to combat. See, I'm going to discard a card here. I don't know why I'm doing this now. Now I can give it flight. Exile 3 cards. Ooh, no, we're going to attack first, and then we're going to exile cards after that. So we can hit for more. Okay, it's irritating that it like automatically jumps up there. I'm going to have to get used to that. Okay, and now I can exile 3 cards. No, maybe I can't. I need to keep Delirium. Okay, so I'm going to discard a card. Discard this Volk. Now I could discard one more, and we're doing some serious damage here. Yeah, I think it's fine to discard a card here. Just, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Okay, and now we can give it flight. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, I guess. So we're keeping enough types in the graveyard that are, we're keeping our Delirium, and they're taking 8. We're drawing a card. Okay, they're probably going to go get, maybe they're going to get Mazevith here, which can keep them alive for an extra turn or so, but it is going to put like a pretty big blocker out there that they're going to have to contend with. Oh, they're going to phase it out? Yeah, that's fine. So they don't have to deal with it this turn. It's also worth noting that I can't make my Murktide bigger because it'll be phased out until my next upkeep, I think. And they can keep doing this. They can keep phasing these out while they beat face. Okay. So they are going to have to add green here. Yeah, and this is probably natural order, which means we're probably dead. Yep, we tried. I think we're just dead to... Okay, they got Atraxa. We're not just dead to Atraxa, but we are only mostly dead. All right, we can see more of their deck. They have Endurance, which is pretty good against us. Another white, another green sun. So they're going to get, it looks like 3 cards off of this. Land, creature, sorcery. Okay. Yeah, I think we can concede here. I'm not anticipating that I'm going to be able to get through all that. If you think that this is a premature concession, let me know. But that was just like an absolute beating. We did our best. I think even on the play, the fact that we had so much trouble with the deck shows just the power of that deck, and it also shows my relative inexperience playing Grixis tempo. So I'm going to hope to not play against the pioneer of an archetype on the archetype that he pioneered, that he's probably played, thousands of games with at this point. He pioneered it probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and has been like writing all these different evolutions of it and stuff. And he's probably, smoked Grixis Delver like twice today. I don't know. He maybe I'm like overestimating my opponent, but it definitely felt like we were outmatched in more dimensions than one. So we're up against Mazu 93 in round 2. And Mazu plays a lot of blue decks, Cephalid Breakfast, tempo decks. So I'm going to assume they're probably on a tempo deck, and I'm going to keep this very good flexible hand. It's got turn 1 Dragon Rage Channeler. If they open with a Wasteland, I'm going to be sad, but I'll just waste it. They could be on Jeskai Control. They'd played that in the past. That is a deck that is Ascendant right now. All right. We don't need a backup Murktide. I think in this situation, you just go for this and you hope that they don't bother wasting Delver, because there is a general heuristic, don't waste Delver. And we're so obviously Delver with this opening. If they are on Breakfast, then this Nile Spellbomb may be very powerful, although Breakfast is generally playing Nadu, so Nile Spellbomb is not the roundhouse kick to the head that it used to be. Yep, that's going to work. So it's a 1-for-1. And already I'm getting not Breakfast vibes, because generally Breakfast plays these in the sideboard. Okay. So options. One, we could just Wasteland them and hope to disrupt their mana a little bit. and deploy an Nile Spellbomb. I think that's totally fine. We drew our second land there, which is great. Our second non-wasteland land. I don't think there's any reason not to just go for this tapped land right now. Technically, if they fetch and stifle, but it's already tapped. So my philosophy is if the land is already tapped, it's game for wasting immediately. Otherwise, you wait to the upkeep. Here's a Ponder, which is fine. Again, we just need to slow them down a little bit. We're going to build up a lot of cards in our graveyard, and hopefully we're going to have a pretty big Murktide. I'm definitely going to try to shuffle away at least one of these Murktides next turn. Another threat would be nice. Especially a one-drop threat like Tamiyo or another DRC. I would also take a Psychic Frog for sure. I think Fatal Push could probably also be shuffled away. All right, land number 3 is not what we want to see. We are almost certainly going to want to mull that away. Shuffle that away. I'm going to go for the main phase Brainstorm here. Resolves. More stuff that we don't want, unfortunately. I think at this point, holding on to pushes is probably a higher upside than holding on to lands. We have all the lands we're going to need here. So I'm just going to put these back, and I'm going to pass. We have fetch into Underground Sea into Fatal Push with Revolt turned on if we need it. We also have the ability to cycle this Nile Spellbomb at the end of the turn, which I would probably do unless they do something to give me breakfast vibes. Okay. So they've got basics. They're playing nice and conservatively against our Delver strategy. So Ponder is fine. Yeah, I'm almost certain with all these basics that they're not on breakfast. That they're on miracles, like straight miracles, maybe Jeskai. But with Prismatic Ending, it suggests they probably are playing red. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and nuke their graveyard now. Because I want to draw a card and make good use of my mana. All right, we drew a Bolt, which is not a great card here. It's another kind of spot removal card that we don't like to draw here in this matchup. Borrower's not the absolute worst, but it's not very good. Okay, so let's take a look at our options. One, we could just bolt them and then play out a Murktide, and it'll probably eat a Plow, but at least we have something on the board. Yeah, I think that's the play. I don't like hanging back with Borrower. So I'll bolt. And I don't suspect they play Daze in their deck at all. You know, it's certainly possible they could force this. I will get the second Volk because that is generally the more useful of the two colors in our deck. Actually, I'd be way sadder to get wasted off black, so I'm going to get black here. And then we're just going to go with a Murktide. I'll leave the Artifact in the graveyard because that's the hardest one to get into the graveyard for the purposes of Delirium. And we're going to have just like I think it's like a 5/5. Not very big. We really need yet another Brainstorm to save us because that last Brainstorm drew us into a bunch of cards we didn't want. This could be Supreme Verdict. Yep. This checks out. No big deal. It's a 1-for-1. But they are getting more land under their belt. And we drew yet another creature removal spell. So I'm just going to pass. And I'll probably just flash in Borrower and Step. They don't have a lot of stuff to bounce in their deck. Yep, this is bad news for us. We don't have any non-basics. We don't have a way to get rid of this. I mean, I could bounce it back to hand as a tempo play. But what am I doing from there? So the alternative is I could wait a little bit longer and maybe find a force so that I can counter it when it comes back down. They've got 4 cards in hand, though. They probably have a force. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to attempt to borrow this back and then hopefully draw into action. And then, let's see what... Oh, this is good. All right, so this is probably going to be tapped down for the rest of the game, but this frog is our kind of prayer. We're sending up a prayer, hoping that the frog can connect. If frog stays on the table, it doesn't even matter really what happens here. There's the back to basics. That's fine. I will happily pitch my whole hand here just to do damage. I don't really care about anything in my hand. If I draw another land, I could play a Murktide Regent. Okay, I think here's what we're going to do. We're going to pitch everything. We're going to pitch everything except for the Murktide. Because if we find another land, the Murktide could be pretty big. It could be, yeah, and it would be a second threat. So I'm going to go to combat here. And we're just going to hope that they don't have discard collapse. Okay. Discard. Fatal Push. We've already used our only Brazen Borrower to buy us a turn. And again, leave a comment if you think that was a bad play. We could have just chilled and waited till we had something else. Okay, so the option here, we're hitting for 5. Murktide does represent a second target. I definitely would rather cast a second Psychic Frog if I drew it, but I do have I think we're gonna draw this. And if we get a land, we will use it to play out the Murktide. I think that's better to just kind of distribute our damage across multiple bodies. I'm glad I hung on to that now. Gee. So we're Protect the Queen. We're full Protect the Queen. Anything that threatens the Psychic Frog is going to be forced on site. Psychic, their Prismatic Ending. Okay. They're dropping a 9 to fetch. There's the Mountain. They have Force Negation up is what they're telling me. So I'm basically locked into this line of play. I think it would be foolhardy to let that resolve. And here's the Force Negation. I'm going to concede. Yeah, because they are going to be able to take over the game from here. Yep. Okay, so Jeskai, Natural Predator, 2 Delver strategies. I'm not, just making excuses. It really is any kind of sort of, 4 plows, 3 Prismatic Ending type deck is going to be really strong against us. And that's just something we have to accept. But we do have Orcish Bowmasters. So cards that are not going to be relevant here. Molten Collapse. Well, I mean, we can probably take out the Fatal Pushes. Fatal Push is terrible. Molten Collapse is maybe slightly better because we can at least hit. Actually, I'm not sure what we can hit here. I haven't seen any 1-drop permanents. I don't think they're playing green, so I don't think Carpet of Flowers is in. Let's just put it this way. This can hit a Triumph, which is another problematic card. I think we can take this out. This doesn't really do anything. And then, boom, we're sideboarded. Our deck is way better than it used to be. Okay, so here's what I think. I think Force Negation is good enough because we really have to stop their big KO spells. And I'll just live in a world where, she can resolve. I'll just bring one of these in. It's not a combo matchup, but I do like having it. All right, let's do it. All right, we are on the play in round 3. This is a snap keep. We got DRC into, not into Bowmasters, but if DRC can find a Black Source Bowmasters, we have Pyroblast, which is a good card in the matchup. I'm going to keep, and I am going to go ahead and fetch a Valk and just go into DRC lands and hope that it sticks. They are almost certainly going to be playing all on basics, so I have no illusions that this Wasteland is going to do anything other than tap for mana, but we might get lucky and they might have to play out a Plateau or a Tundra or something that they drew, in which case we will waste immediately. We'll take every Wasteland we can get because their entire deck is basically, their game starts at turn 3. That's when they can start casting their Planeswalkers. That's when they can start casting their powerful effects. Doesn't look like they're playing Terminus. They are instead playing Supreme Verdict, which, in my opinion, is a less scary card. Yep, we're just going to let that happen. There's nothing we can do. Let's untap. All right, second, Valk doesn't really do anything for us here, but it is probably better than playing out the Wasteland. I'm going to play it, and then I'll pass. We're just going to wait and see if we can find a fetch to go get an Underground Sea, and then Bowmasters will be pretty strong in this matchup. It's basically, it requires double removal to completely get rid of the remnants of this. All right. And we will want to have extra mana on the table so we can potentially, they know that they can't get it, but they're not going to go get a non-basic anyway with their Prismatic Vista, so I think we play it out. Eventually, we will get to Hardcast Force territory. I'm hoping we do get some combo matchups because this is really strong against combo, this deck. And it's also, I think, combo and potentially aggro as well because it's kind of like an aggro deck as well. I think both of those types of matchups will be good for us. But this kind of Swords to Plowshares matchup is definitely rough. Now they have blue mana. They still have not exposed anything to our Wasteland. We're just chilling, waiting for a fetch or a Black Source. I'm going to deploy this. I think at this point, before forcing to protect, I will probably bolt to see what I have on top. The bolts are not going to get any better. They're really just for direct damage here. Let's go ahead and see what we have on top. No. I think we have to... we basically telegraphed we have a Pyroblast here. But I needed to protect this. We have nothing going on, and time is not on our side. This is a threat that we can cast. It's slow. It also dies to Plow. It also dies to Pyroblast, which they probably have some number of in their deck. I think we put this in the yard. All right. They're fetching. Okay, now they have their Pyroblast, which we cannot stop, sadly. Okay, so I'm gonna bolt to see what the top card is. Just get a little bit of surveil on the way out. That's really all we can do here. This can go in the graveyard. So we can draw whatever we're going to draw next turn immediately. We do get 3 life instead of... it shouldn't matter, but yeah, that might matter. I don't think it's going to matter. Their deck basically doesn't even care about your life total because they just win the game when you have literally no agency. And if they go back to basics here, we're completely screwed. 4th is fine if we get Bowmasters out. They are going to get the Monarch, but 4th, the Monarch's a liability against Bowmasters decks. So the fact that we gained some life there, like gained 2 extra life, actually is meaningful because we're still at 20 even after taking a hit from that. All right, can we find a fetch? Well, I'm going to go ahead and look for it now. Damn it. Okay, yeah, this is why playing multicolored decks, 3-color decks, you encounter these kinds of situations. So yeah, I fetched the Valk initially and then I organically drew. I'm just trying to figure out if I did anything wrong. I don't think I've done anything wrong so far this game, but I'd welcome your feedback in the comments. But we can bolt that, but they're going to be drawing an extra card every turn. It feels really super duper hopeless, frankly. It doesn't matter. I'll just put these uncastable cards on top. I am going to go ahead and waste them just to slightly restrict their options. And I will hold my Pyroblast instead of bolting their creature. I don't really care about their creature. I might bolt it but we know that the next 2 turns they're just going to be drawing an extra card. And life total doesn't really matter here. At some point they can, Mystic Sanctuary that back on top of their deck. But this game feels super over to me, just on the basis of us not drawing our 3rd color. Like that is this whole thing. Like I would feel fine if we could Bowmaster, have Psychic Frog, we'd have like all these options. But the fact that we're playing 3 colors, and keep in mind, we're not playing. It's not like we're playing basics. We're playing all non-basics. Essentially 12 of each color in our deck. Because if you think about it, 9 fetches plus 3 fetchables. That is going to be a blast. And the reason for that is because it does negate like some of the few ways we can get back into the game. One of the ways we can get back into the game is eventually draw our... we've got 2 more dead draws, and they're going to be drawing 2 cards each turn. So they're outdrawing us with each passing turn. This game is basically a lock if the top card of our deck isn't... Yeah, and that really sucks. I'm going to hold on to the bolt so I can kill that. It's more important than killing this knight. I'll just let him keep hitting us. Oh, yeah. Ponder. They could have done that at instant speed in the end step since they plussed. Maybe they're trying to find a land drop. They didn't find one. Okay. They did not shuffle, so they've got good stuff on top of their deck as well. We know we have one more bad card we need to draw through. Yeah, there's no point in bolting this. I don't think there's any point in killing this now because we're going to have mana to kill it later. Yep, just a lot more card selection. I just want to see what the top card of the deck is. If it's not a black source, I'll just concede. We're not going to have the element of surprise with Teferi on the table. Actually, yeah, we can bolt Teferi. And then we can Bowmasters. But they are going to know that Bowmasters is on the table and that they're going to need to get rid of it. Wow, bad to worse. Okay. Okay, and they draw a card off this. Now we have to probably get rid of the Mentor rather than Teferi. I'm going to concede. Yeah, we didn't find the black source we needed. Playing this out is of zero consequence. Bolting here, very little consequence. Good games. Let's see if we get a better matchup and better luck. And, you know, again, I want to keep the door open to maybe I'm just horrifically misplaying, but I feel like the hands we kept were keepable. The hands we pitched back where it wasn't really like a question, like we're not going to keep a no-lander. That was I think we've only mulliganed like once so far this league. Against HelloNewton, there might have been some different lines that I could have taken, but I do feel that this deck is not favored against either of those decks that we played. I think it's against Jeskai. I think it's maybe like we have like a 30-70 matchup against HelloNewton's Cradle Control. Maybe it's like 50-50, but I suspect it's closer to like a 40-60. Okay, we're up against Mr. Vendrick in round 3. All right, and they are likely on this deck, which they were playing a couple days ago. And they did pretty well, 11th place. They don't have a lot of other finishes, so I suspect they recently picked it up, and on the strength of blue-black being a strong tempo archetype, are doing well with it. All right, this hand is ridiculously strong. It's got everything we want. It's got selection. It's got removal. It's got threats. I'm keeping it. Delta for basic Tamiyo. All right. So I think we could definitely just push Tamiyo to keep her from flipping. The other option, of course, is that we play the DRC. Let's see what we draw here. Another land. I'm happy to have the lands, but you know, you definitely don't want to get flooded in this deck. They are going to be going after our lands with their wastelands. I don't have anything to do with the DRC this turn. I think it's fine to just probably grab like an Underground Sea push, and then if they daze, they daze. But this is a good way to like stop their engine, because if they are able to keep this in play, they essentially have like a one-sided Howling Mine. All right, that worked. And for both parties, it's a happy exchange, because they didn't want to have they wanted to eat our removal spell, and now they might have a frog here. Oh, they've got another Tamiyo. Okay. Well, we have a Tamiyo ourselves, and we can flip her. And it could be that they have a daze. Molten Collapse will kill Flip Tamiyo. That is one great thing about it that I didn't think about until now. So we target non-creature, non-land, permanent. So it can also kill a Tamiyo and a creature later, because Tamiyo will have a mana value of 1. So yeah, Molten Collapse is a pretty good card right now. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for it. I think I'm going to go get... I'm going to go ahead and try to flip Tamiyo immediately. Is that what I want to do? They don't have any pressure on the table. So we're just going to go ahead and play her out. And then I'm going to flip her here. This is an imperfect brainstorm, but if it resolves and we're able to flip Tamiyo, that's very good for us. If they daze, it's not the end of the world. Okay, there's the daze. Better for them to daze than to fatal push our Tamiyo, because our Tamiyo can still attack and potentially get clues this way. I would love for them to play a creature and then flip Tamiyo so I can Molten Collapse them both away. Ponder. This is card number 2. But they've already played out their blue, so I don't think they're going to have a way to get the third one. Unless they're playing like Lotus Petal or something. There's no reason not to attack here. Also no reason to block. Or not block. Does not matter. All right. So, this is pretty cool, actually. What we could do is we could go ahead and play out the DRC. Then we could... Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. Check this out. I'm going to go ahead and play this first. We go DRC. We've got 2 card types, but soon we're going to have potentially 3. Actually, so I can't attack with her anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm just going to attack first. So we get our clue. Now, after having gotten the clue, they do play Stifle in their deck most likely, but it's not showing. So I'm just going to play this out. Let's get a Surveil. Now Spellbomb. I don't think that matters. Let's take a look at their deck. Are they playing Murktide? They are playing Nethergoyf. I think this does matter. So I'm going to brainstorm and keep it. I'm going to have an artifact in the graveyard anyway. Top. And I can just play it out at my leisure. Let's go ahead and see what they're going to draw here. Force of Will. Okay, that's good to know about. Now I'm going to attempt to brainstorm. I'm not going to be able to put anything in the yard because we decided to keep last time. So maybe it was not correct to do it the way I did. I'll just put it on top of the library. We get our 3 cards. We can put back Redundant Tamiyo. We can put back... Do we want to put back Wasteland? I think we do. Tamiyo flips. We'll plus her. I can play this Spellbomb out just to have it on the table. Okay, they are Swamp Cycling. That's fine. So they're getting rid of the force on top of their deck, so they won't draw that force. I'm going to get a second Underground Sea. I think it's the more important of the 2 colors in our deck, and I'm going to just play this out now. And this will also trigger a Surveil. And I will Surveil a land into the graveyard. Yeah, I'm happy to get rid of Wastelands when they just grabbed another land. Did they grab? They grabbed an Underground Sea. Yeah, let's pass. Okay, I'm feeling like we're in a pretty good position, despite the fact that we went second. We draw a card off this. Another Channeler. That's great. So she's not Delirious yet, but she can very easily become a Delirious if we Molten Collapse this turn. It's fine. Cards we're worried about. I mean, we just need to keep their board clear of dangerous permanents. They could be playing Reanimate because they are playing Troll. They weren't playing Troll in their previous list. They could be on Rescam. I mean, that's certainly a possibility, which makes me happy to have Nile Spellbomb out there. If we just win, if they just conceded at this point, I would almost certainly keep the Nile Spellbomb and probably bring the other Nile Spellbomb in just on the off chance that they are doing that. It's fine. They are flipping their own Tamiyo. I'm hoping that they play another Goyf here so I can, blow up 2 permanents with Molten Collapse. I do have the black mana to Nile Spellbomb and draw, and to turn on Delirium, or turn on Revolt, or Descend. So many keywords. Okay. All right, so options. I don't think getting any of the cards out of our graveyard matters here. I think we just hit their graveyard first. No, there's no permanent to hit. Wait, destroy target Planeswalker, and I can kill a clue. It's not the worst. So I'm going to go ahead and do this to Descend. If they are on Rescan, they're going to need to put a card in their graveyard. This is somewhat risky. I don't think they're keeping Dazes at this point. Okay. So we got the Bauble, which could have turned on the Revolt anyway. I'm going to go ahead and play this out. Let's see if we can put a creature in the graveyard. Perfect. Now we have Delirium. Let's take a look at their top card. Animate Dead. Okay, well, now we know that they are likely on Rescam. Do we want to hold this Molten Collapse knowing that they have an Animate Dead on top of their deck? I don't think we do. I think we just want to go ahead and red, black, Molten Collapse, and I'm going to destroy their Planeswalker, and I'm going to destroy one of their clues. Let's see if this works. We get the DRC trigger. Daisy's not a good card right now. It's going in the yard. I definitely could have gotten back a blue card. Oh, it worked. So I'm just going to go ahead and go upstairs here. They may Animate Dead their Tamiyo. Next turn, we're going to, probably take this up. We don't have a way to defend this because these DRCs have to attack. We got a Wasteland, which is a pretty bad draw. All right, what are they getting here? Psychic Frog into pitching something important. Oh, if they surveil a dangerous thing into the yard here, that could be bad. They don't surveil anything into the yard. Black for Thoughtseize is fine. Yeah, so they put our DRC in the yard. They could Animate Dead that, but that would be pretty bad. Reanimating is not that bad, but it is just a 1/1 here. Right? Instant. Oh, it's a 4/4. Wait, is it not a 3/3? Interesting. I'm surprised it's not a 3/3. We got creature. Oh, these are both sorceries. So if they have an instant, then they can trade with my DRC. Okay, options. 1, we can get back the Fatal Push. Two, we could get back Molten Collapse. I actually think getting Molten Collapse back is the right play here. We can kill this and kill this. I'm just going to do it now so I can attack in without having to worry. Red, black. Oh, we need to descend. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and crack this clue. So we can draw a card. All right, and now we can Molten Collapse with Descent. Red, black. I'm just playing everything super carefully, super slow here because I'm new to the deck. Boom, boom. Wait, did we not descend? I thought we descended with that. Oh, no, it doesn't count as descending. I thought like Revolt and Descend are a little bit different, it looks like. Yeah, I'll just destroy the creature, I guess. Yeah, that's embarrassing. Yeah, I'll kill that. Okay, we get to surveil something into the yard. Fatal Push, I think, is worth keeping because they can animate dead something and we can kill it if it's not a big thing. All right, I'm just going to attack here. Yeah, that's super embarrassing that I didn't realize there was a difference. But again, it's better to learn in this context. And you learned right now watching this video. You didn't have to make this mistake for yourself. But I would have definitely rather, you know, just killed that and, yeah, maybe just let Tamiyo take the hit and kept ticking her up to distract my opponent. So if they cast like a Entomb, I will definitely force here. They have the luxury of knowing I'm tapped out though, so they might have kept a Daze on top. I think this is fine. I do have stuff going on. Oh, please give me a Daze opportunity. Thank you. Bounce that back to hand. I think that was an unnecessarily aggressive. Do they have their own Daze? I have a Fatal Push either way, but I'd rather hold the Fatal Push. Okay, so I'm just going to be ticking Tamiyo up. There's no reason to use any of my lands here. Let's play this out, and I'll plus. And then we're getting closer to Hardcast Force, but we are kind of in the danger zone if they suddenly are able to get a fatty into their yard and reanimate it. But I think they shuffled. I can't remember if they shuffled away the Animate Dead. Okay, there's a troll. That's fine. And if they animate this, we can just get Molten Collapse back again. This time we'll waste to get the clue, but it doesn't look like they're going to need to do that. Yeah, there's nothing we can do about that. All right. They've got a big fatty. So I think, yeah, we're just going to have to get Molten Collapse back. So I'll play this out, and now I've got Force up next turn. I don't have it up this turn because I'm going to have to collapse to kill this. Yeah, I'm not missing anything. Like, this is the play. We go black, red. And now they have that fatty in their yard, like every single time they draw a reanimation effect, they can do that again. And our Tamiyo is pretty weak right now, but again, she can every other turn she effectively draws a card. It's fine. Got 2 cards in hand. Please be a Psychic Frog or something that I can push. Petty Theft, bouncing her back to hand is fine. They can cast it out. They cast it out, I can push it. They're just going to cast it now. Wait, they have one more card in their hand. Uh-oh. Is this a reanimate on Troll? If they reanimate Troll, they're putting themselves dead to my bolts. And I don't think they have any life gain in their deck, so I don't think they should do that. I'm going to draw. I hope they reanimate Troll. All right, I'm going to play this out. Play it out with this, I guess. And I do technically have Hardcast Force up. I've got a lot of interaction up. They're going to flash this in end step. That's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to force that. I might even let them hit me with it once just so I can have a little more information. I'll just take it. Okay, they're not doing anything here. Fine. I'm just going to go to untap. Draw. Another Wasteland, huh? That's not good. I'll just attack and create a token. I have lots of points of interaction here if they try to do something. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and draw here. I'll draw with this. Okay, another Tamiyo is not great. I think we just pass. We can now force pitch Tamiyo if necessary. If they kill Tamiyo, we can play another Tamiyo. I think here I am going to just push this just because it's dealing with a lot of damage. Actually, Bolt is probably better because I do need to be able to kill a Psychic Frog if it comes down. So I'll just Bolt this. And if they, yeah. Reanimation effect for Psychic Frog. That's fine. I can push it. I'm going to wait to push it because I might be able to get them to discard a card. If I can draw into something that can kill, what am I trying to say here? If I can draw into like a Brainstorm or a Ponder. So let's go ahead and boom, boom. Can we get a draw effect? Murktide. Well, that's good. That's very good. So I think we just play it and we have a giant Murktide. And we can protect it with Force. So let's get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to keep Bolt in there just in case I need it. Yeah, I'll do that. And from my experience playing their deck, this is like the nightmare card. They've already used the Brazen Borrower, and they're dead in one swing. They can't attack in. If they do attack in, if they jump to attempt to block or something like that, we can just push it. We win. Okay, Murktide carries the day. That was a very long game. We've got 13 minutes on the clock. We're going to need to play faster. They're also playing somewhat slow, but they are playing faster than we are. Okay, and now we're on the... I guess we were on the draw that game too. So what we're bringing in is Pyroblast. Bowmasters is good against... their Bowmasters is also good against some of the other cards they play. Now Spellbomb is definitely coming in. Cards that are less important, I don't think Force is good here. And I don't think that we need... One of these Wastes can come out and one of these Dazes. We're not going to be going after their resources, especially not on the draw. The alternative, of course, is that we could... No. Daze loses so much equity on the draw. I think we keep 2 Forces in. It's not a dead card by any means. It's just not as good. Pyroblast are good against Psychic Frog, obviously. So we're keeping a very removal-heavy hand. Yeah, let's do it. You know, I kind of want to keep this land in. Just in case we do get into a situation where we can kind of waste some of their lands and screw them. And also because the land is good with... It's better in this deck because it can help you cast a Murktide Regent. Can help you cast a Bowmasters, and importantly, it can help you crack clues, which we did a lot of last game. This is a snap keep. This is a really good hand. All right, they're opening basic. I think I'm going to do the exact same thing I did last game and just try to bolt it. Yep, I'm going to go get my red source, and I'm just going to fire off the bolt now. I think that's better because they're on the play, we can take our time and mount an offense once we've gotten them under control. All right, and it worked. We'll see if they have a follow-up like they did last game. We're playing 3 Tamiyos. I usually play 4. They may be playing 4. But actually, if they're playing Rescam, or not Rescam, but Blue-Black Reanimator, there's a good chance that they are only playing like 1 or 2. There's a Troll. They're main phasing it, so they can play it out. So the good news is we probably have a turn before Reanimation shenanigans are online. All right, we're getting a lot of lands. I don't think we play Psychic Frog in a daze, but I am going to play out the Tamiyo here. And then if they do attempt to bolt, we can attempt to Brainstorm to save her. And since it's their turn, even if they target Tamiyo, she'll still survive because she'll flip before the Bowmaster triggers resolve. I don't think we can do anything about this. Right? So we're looking for... There's 2 outs. There's a Brazen Borrower and there is a Molten Collapse in our deck. And either of those cards can deal with this. The other option is to just get Psychic Frog totally stacked, which is seriously risky. But we could race. They're at 14. So if we Psychic Frog and then we get ready to pitch everything into Psychic Frog, I think that's a viable strategy. We are going to have the land. We are going to have to play into days to do that. Let's just draw something good so we don't have to do that. Oh, yeah. Spellbomb's a good card, but unfortunately, it's closing the barn door after the horses escape. They could have more reanimation targets, but I think this is so powerful that we don't really have a choice. I think I'm just going to go ahead and attack. Okay. And now that we have the clue, I am going to... I mean, they could have Stifle here. I don't think they're playing Stifle if they're playing reanimation effects. I'm going to go ahead and fetch first just to see what happens. Get an Underground Sea. I'm going to play out a fetch. I am going to play the Frog first because that is the more important of the two spells to resolve. The Brainstorm resolving is just icing on the cake. So we minus it, and then we pitch everything, and Frog kills... No, wait. Frog can't kill Troll in combat. Troll will kill... will necessarily kill our Tamiyo. So what I'm going to do... I think I'm going to get a land and try to deploy the Spell Bomb. Or is that suicide? I think that is pretty dangerous to do because... Okay, let's do some math. So we attack for 5 next turn. 6. And then the following turn we can attack for 8. That's death if they don't have a removal spell. I think we hold. Leave a comment. This is a very important inflection point. Leave a comment if you think that I'm, acting in error. I could play out the Spell Bomb and then, crack the clue to get a card to get up to, faster lethal Psychic Frog area. But we have virtually no counter magic in our deck. We just have to kind of hope that they don't have an explosive start like this game 3. We do have the 2 Nile Spell Bombs. We did draw one. We just drew it a turn too late. All right, there's a Wasteland. That is a mild inconvenience. We do have... Well, actually, yeah, we can go get a Volk. Here comes the Hug. If they have a Fatal Push, this game's over because we're all in on the Psychic Frog connecting. But we can effectively race them by pitching everything. Because they're going to hit us for 6, and then we hit them... So we're going to hit them twice. We hit them for 6, and then we hit them for the remaining 8. But we can't really do anything other than play out cards if we want to do that. Okay, DRC doesn't really help the clock. We don't have Delirium. We will have Delirium after we pitch our hand. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this out. Is that a mistake? I think that might have been a mistake, actually. I'm going to crack this for a clue. Or crack this clue, rather. To draw a card. Force is not the worst, but I think Force leaves us dead. Okay, the other option is, of course, we play out DRC the turn that they're about to attack for lethal, and then we have 3 blockers. But that just seems like really weak. Actually, that strategy does allow us to keep more cards in hand, though. So I'm going to attack. Let's see if they do anything here. We'll go to blocks. If they don't push... All right, so I am going to start discarding cards. We're going to discard Spell Bomb. Discard Fatal Push. I think we discard DRC and we get in for 4. It's not looking good, though. I'm just going to discard everything. I'm going to discard this. This gets us up to 5. The next turn, we have to hit for 9. I don't think we can hit for 9. I think we have to discard this too. Yep, and we are super dead if they just Fatal Push us here. All right, we are drawing a card. They are dropping to 8. They're entombing. That is terrifying. They may have a reanimation effect. Yep, and we pitched our Spell Bomb, which was our protection against this. Maybe it was right to go ahead and play out the Spell Bomb because we could have just cracked it for lethal next turn. Yeah, I'm definitely willing to accept that was a misplay. Playing out the... but we would be hitting for 1 less. As it stands, we're going to draw a card and we're going to have exactly lethal, or we can, potentially crack this and have 1 extra. Ponder. I didn't even realize we flipped that. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's kind of embarrassing. But they're not going to attack this, so we can get something back. There's nothing we're going to be able to get off of this Ponder that's going to matter. I'm just going to pass. So they put Atraxa in their graveyard. Atraxa, if they have a reanimation effect, we're just dead. And they do. So we can go to the next game. Oh, wait. If they don't have a way to stop us from bolting, then we can win. Because we can get our bolt back next turn. If they don't attack Tamiyo. If they're smart and they attack Tamiyo, then there's nothing we can do. But we'll just have to see if they screw up. They took Ponder, Polluted Delta, Hydroblast, Harbinger of the Seas. Okay, so they have it covered. Yeah, we'd have to draw a bolt and get back force because they have a Hydroblast. They're attacking me or they're attacking Tamiyo. Okay, that kind of does it. I don't think there's anything we can do to win now. Unless we draw a Brazen Borrower. If we draw a Brazen Borrower, we can still win. In fact, I am going to fetch to thin because, like, what are we doing here if we're not drawing Brazen Borrower or Molten Collapse, either one? Actually, it has to be Brazen Borrower because they have a Hydroblast. Brazen Borrower? Molten Collapse. Okay, unfortunately, this isn't enough because we know they have a Hydroblast. Right? They did keep the Hydroblast. Yeah, and it makes sense for them to keep the Hydroblast here. So, yeah, they have a Hydroblast. They have Harbinger of the Seas, which is not a problem for us. I'm going to try to find a Brazen Borrower. They don't have Daze, to my knowledge. I didn't see that as one of the cards they kept. These don't do it. Brainstorm, if we draw that, we're not going to have the mana to do anything. I'm just going to shuffle and try to find the borrower. We didn't find it. I'm just going to concede. I'm going to give my opponent the credit, and I'm just going to save time because we are low on clock. All right, so we did see a little bit more reanimation effects. I'm definitely bringing in my Daze. I think Daze is good on the play for sure. I'll take out my Force. The fact that they're playing the Harbinger of the Seas doesn't really matter because, like, we have lots of blue threats in our deck anyway. I think we could cut. What are we going to cut here? They may not be playing as many pushable threats as I thought. All we saw was Tamiyo and Psychic Frog. So if we cut those, you just have to make 2 cuts. We didn't see Bowmasters, which kind of makes me think maybe we don't need Bowmasters. Bowmasters isn't good against their deck except for stopping the opposing Bowmasters. Actually, Bowmasters wasn't out there. I didn't think about that. But if we'd found a Bowmasters, that could have won. I'm not opposed to it. I think we cut some more reactive cards. I'm going to really regret. Well, I mean, we added a bunch of blasts. So I think we're probably good against Psychic Frog and Tamiyo if those are our only targetable creatures. And I like the bolts because bolt can help give us the reach to win in situations where we're facing down like a giant wall in Atraxa and we have no way to win. All right, so let's hope that we can get through in time. This would be a great hand, as all hands would be if it had land. This does have land. It has DRC. I'm snap keeping this. I'll just put back one of the bolts. Actually, I'll put back Murktide. Murktide will be a good card to draw later. I mean, there's definitely a chance that they just open Fatal Push. Are they keeping... They mulled to 6 as well. Okay, that's good. All right, let's go ahead and get this DRC on the table. Darcy, as they call her. Like the bass player from Smashing Pumpkins. Let's pass. I'm just going to F6 through the turn. There's nothing I can do. And I need to preserve clock. Okay. So it looks like we might be able to get a trigger off this. Oh, we drew the Murktide. I'm glad I put one back. I'm going to try to brainstorm here. We get the trigger either way. Yeah, because if I draw a land, I might be able to put one of these back. That is a keep. All right. I feel like this is really good. So early on, these Dazes are pretty good. I think they're probably better than bolts. And, what I'll do is I'll put this Murktide back, and I'll put a bolt back. And we'll draw through these. We can surveil a bolt away if we need to. Actually, wait a second. Oh, I screwed that up. I think I could have probably gotten her Delirious here. Is the top card of my Murktide? Or is it a bolt? I think it's a bolt. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the graveyard for the Murktide. Okay, and then we'll just draw, a card here. These are all pretty good except for the Murktide. We don't need the second Murktide. What I'm going to do... Oh, no, I screwed up. Yeah. I'm not going to use the shuffle. I'm going to keep as is. I'll just attack for 1. So what I was thinking is, if I could have, daze something and put one of the redundant Murktides in the graveyard. But I'll have to do that next turn because I'm not going to put my Bowmaster in the graveyard probably. I mean, I might. We'll see. I feel good having double daze though. I will daze and put a Murktide in my graveyard if it means they're going to like Hydroblast or something. That's fine. So they are going to have lots of mana. So these dazes are of diminishing value. Yep, nothing I'm going to do about that. I'm just going to hope that this Murktide goes the distance. And I think I will probably just play out Murktide right now. Will I? They don't have a lot of ways to kill it. Yeah, I'm going to play it out now. It's just going to be a 6/6, but hopefully it can get some damage in. They daze. We've got another one, and we've got plenty of spells that will go in the graveyard. That's a force. Okay, I think I'm going to double daze this, which might seem aggressive, but we can redeploy. Okay. One of these lands, and we can have Bolt Up, which is not like nothing. It's not great. Okay, so this is coming out, and I'll pass. And if they bring back Troll, they're basically dead. They can't reanimate Troll anymore. Not with reanimation, or reanimate. They could find a Brazen Borrower, which would suck, but I'm already a decent way toward casting Murktide, and I will go ahead and probably like fire out the Bolt Instep just to, if they bounce Murktide, I'll fire out the Bolt, and that way I can have yet another card that I can surveil or use to feed the Murktide. I'm going to hold the Bolt for now. It can Bolt Tamiyo if Tamiyo gets in the way. All right, we're going to go ahead and play this out and attack. We'll definitely Bowmaster if they give me the chance. They may have taken their dazes out on the draw. But again, keep in mind, like a single Atraxa reanimation and this entire strategy crumbles. Let's see what they surveil into their graveyard. Nothing. Okay, good. We have 4 minutes and 50 seconds, which is enough if Murktide is going to go coast to coast here. I am going to attempt to do this just because if this somehow works, it's going to be absolutely backbreaking. It's in. Right. Do the triggers go on the stack? Because if they do, I am liking our odds. All right. Oh, wow. Yep, they just conceded. We did it. All right. So this is a rare, or maybe it's not rare. Maybe I've probably lost as blue-black tempo against Grixis before, so maybe it's not that rare for this. Maybe this is a favorite matchup. I don't think it is. I think it's probably 50-50. We saw in the previous matchup, like just getting wasted off of, or not having access to a single color like black completely collapsed our strategy. So I'm feeling a little bit better after a win in game 3. I'm starting to get the hang of this. There were several suboptimal plays. One was inadvertently flipping Tamiyo in game 2. The other was game 3 when I could have surveilled one of my excess creatures, most likely my excess dragons, into the yard and then hit with Delirium and gotten 2 extra damage and just not drawn a second dead, basically a game piece that wasn't going to be consequential to the outcome of the game. So yeah, well, I'll see you in round 4. We are 1-2. We're back for round 4 against somebody who is likely on Delver. That was their most recent deck that they played, but that was several months ago. This is a pretty strong hand. I like just the flexibility. I like the Psychic Frog a lot. Tamiyo drawing the, jumping on the grenade for Psychic Frog is something I can get behind. They asked if I successfully Googled them. Always. All right. I am a Boy Scout. I'm not really a Boy Scout. Don't tell anybody who said that. I guess I just told the entire YouTube audience. No, I'm not a Boy Scout, but I do. I am down with their motto, which is always be prepared. Okay, so this is the least consequential land. I'm going to go ahead and lead on this, just in case they have multiple wastelands. All right, Tamiyo's in, and we'll see how long she is for this world. I'm not going to force to protect her, but I will force to protect Psychic Frog. All right, Volk. That's fine. So what I'm probably going to do is just wait until I have a third land and then cast Psychic Frog, because the odds of them having a daze in their hand at this point, having seen at least 8 cards. I mean, they've technically seen like 9. Well, they shuffled, but there are 8 cards in their deck basically. So I think it's like 43, 44% for a daze. I don't like those odds. All right. I think I'll just play this fetch out. Actually, if I play this out, he might bait them into wasting me off a color, which I don't even care about. I'm going to go ahead and attack. All right. Tamiyo's coming in. Getting a little love tap. We're getting a clue. We're passing. I mean, Tamiyo's just so strong because she really gives you like something to do while you're like waiting to get out of daze range. All right. And it looks like we're in the mirror. Psychic Frog is fine. I've got lots of ways of dealing with Psychic Frog. And of course, I've got my own Psychic Frog. And I'm technically ahead on cards. That's a good card. All right. I think we definitely want to play this out and then probably Psychic Frog. Actually, I am going to attack, and if they jump the frog, I'm going to bounce with Borrower. Okay, doesn't look like they're blocking. Okay, now I'm going to Psychic Frog on my own. Black, blue, Frogger. All right, and I'm going to waste them off of their Fatal Push color. They're going to draw, and they're going to potentially have enough to overpower me, but that would be dangerous. Frog on frog combat doesn't usually work out well. It's fine. So they have 6 cards. They can go all in on the frog, and I will let them connect if they do that. They should attack here. I'm just going to let it through. Yeah, I just have to let it through. I'm going to draw a card next turn. But they're ahead on the frog race. Whoever casts first blood or draws first blood with frog usually comes out on top in the frog race. All right, options. Well, I think we're almost certainly going to play this land out. I think that's the correct call. I'm going to just attack here with both. I'm not going to pitch any cards. I guess I could have not played that out and then maybe ripped a Wasteland, which would have been a sick rip. Nope. I like the idea of Borrower around days. They're clearly screwed on mana. I think I can play this out and then I'll play this out and I think most likely it's not going to do anything. If they don't play a land, I might attempt to borrow here. Okay, they're tapping mana. That's great. Okay, so the real question is, do we want to go ahead and... Here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to borrow here. Is this right? I think it's fine because then if we get into a daze fight, I can let the Preordain resolve, but I do want to get the Psychic Frog off the table before they have more mana. I will get a free Surveil off DRC, and I'm stacking clues. Like this Tamiyo is just worth our weight in gold. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, let's keep that. That seems like a super duper good card in the matchup. So if this gets countered for some reason, it doesn't. Okay, great. Yeah, you can have a Preordain. So I'm going to save Daze for more consequential spells. They seem to be just clearing the way for a land. That Wasteland was pretty brutal. Okay, they don't have red, so they can't recast. This could be a DRC of their own. I do think she's worth defending. I will defend Milady. Get another Surveil. If she does die, like if they try to force this through, I'll probably let it happen because I do not mind getting a little closer to Delirium. She's already done so much work. I can tell this is a very intense exchange for them because they're thinking for a long time. Like before they were playing really fluidly and now they're really slowing down, which is the hallmark of a good player, is being able to play kind of like autonomically almost, like just without thinking. And then when necessary, okay, this is the Fatal Push that I already knew I had on top. I'm not going to pitch that. That is a way better than average draw here. Okay, they just conceded. Okay, good. That was quick. And I can see why they conceded. Look at all that pressure I had on the table. All right, for the mirror. I have no idea how to decide, but I'm pretty sure Pyroblast is good. And I'm pretty sure Spellbomb is good because they do use their graveyard for at least 2 of their cards. I didn't see DRC, but I'm assuming it's in there. It's the reason to play red. So let's put this up here. We need to cut some cards. I think we just cut the forces. Daze is not the worst, even on the draw against Delver because it's just such a slog or such a street fight. You know, it's just completely laying waste to one another's mana, laying waste to one another's board. Just whoever is left standing with a single threat can often win the game. Okay, this is a great hand. So it has lots of land. That's what I care about. And it has an answer to frog, and it has a frog of our own. I'm keeping this. So the most important thing in Delver matchups is land, in my opinion. And I say that having very little experience playing Delver Mirrors. But in tempo in general, like when you're tempo on tempo, your lands are worth a lot. And they just bend one, which I would love to punish. They are definitely a different construction than ours. I think I just play out a fetch and pass. Or maybe I try to bait them into wasting us. I think that's fine. I'm going to play this out and I'll pass. And we'll bait them into wasting. I can't do this too many times because I've only got 3 of each land. But the fetches are useful because we can like brainstorm and then we can fetch away one of the cards if we need to do an imperfect brainstorm here. Vexing Bobble's fine. It actually doesn't affect our deck at all, other than days. Wow, they're playing Vexing Bobble? They're on like a very different list than us. All right, well, since Vexing Bobble's out, I could play out Frog, but I think I'm just going to play out DRC. DRC is a good card, and she can take removal that would ultimately be... She can jump in front of the bullet that Psychic Frog would take. She's the true veteran bodyguard, not the really buff guy from the alpha card. All right, that's fine. They're getting some... They're seeing a lot of cards, you know, between the Surveil land and the Brainstorm here. Got lots of lands under them. Okay. Fatal Push. Thoughtseize. Well, I'm going to attempt to brainstorm here. It'll be an imperfect brainstorm, but what I want to do is probably hide. Hide Psychic Frog. That's the best card in our hand. That can go in the graveyard. I'm very glad to have not drawn that. Are they going to respond to Thoughtseize? No. Okay, great. So here's what I think we do. I think we hide probably Psychic Frog and Pyroblast. Actually, I mean, it's just embarrassing that we have so many lands that we're going to draw through. Okay, so I'm just going to hide Psychic Frog. That's all I'm going to hide. I'll put back this land that we don't want to draw, and I'll put back Psychic Frog. I'll draw Psychic Frog, and then I will, hopefully they discard the Murktide. That will buff my DRC. Murktide doesn't even matter to me. I don't have enough cards in. Okay, they just went for my Fatal Push, which makes sense. So they may have like a non-frog threat here. Dark Ritual. Okay, we're going to see something different here. This might be a Doomsday deck. Buried Alive! Oh no! So it looks like it's the Phoenix deck. And they go to combat and they get 3 Arch-like Phoenixes. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 9. Then we're going to play out a Murktide, or a, what's it called? A Frog. We're going to jump the Frog in front of one of these Phoenixes. We're going to get DRC Delirious, and we're going to trade with one of the Phoenixes. This is a really interesting sequence of plays. I mean, they had to use a lot of resources to get here. All right. So the question is, do I crack the fetch? I kind of think I have to because I don't want to draw that land, even though it is a life. It's my life. Actually, wait a second. I could play Murktide next turn. Could technically play Murktide this turn, but that would prevent me from being able to trade with DRC. DRC's only got 1 shot at blocking here. All right. Yeah, I think we're going to play this out for sure. There's no doubt about that. And then I'm just trying to think of what we do. I can always fetch later. So can I get her Delirious? I can put a creature in the graveyard. I actually can't get her Delirious, can I? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yeah. It's only 2 types, so we get a 3rd type in, but it's not enough. So here's what I think I do. Yeah, I'm definitely going to jump the Frog. And that I can kill one of them. And I'll Oh, I should have attacked with DR. There's no reason not to attack with DRC if she's not going to be delirious. They don't have to attack. These have the option of not attacking. Yeah, I mean, their deck like completely transformed. I thought we were in the Delver mirror, and then all of a sudden, Arch-like Phoenix. But it would that explains why they're in red if they're not playing DRC, because we haven't seen DRC. This is probably the one reason they're playing red. They haven't even fetched red this entire game. Actually, yeah, they may not actually have red mana. I could have sworn I saw two Volks last game, though. I'm going to be really sad if they are able to, somehow kill this. If it is a blue spell, I can blast it. All right, looks like they are going to do the smart thing, which is attack. I would be stunned if they didn't do that. So I'm going to start by discarding a card. Boom. Now I'm going to bless our frog with the Gift of Flight. If they want to push now, that is fine with me, because I don't have to pitch as many cards, but I'm pretty dead if they do that. So next turn, I will have the potential of a Flying Frog and a big Murktide to kill the other one if somehow we're able to make it through this. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Actually, I won't be able to both play the Murktide and get Flight. I think I'm in a pretty rough spot. Yeah, I will pitch the land, though. Let's go to block. All right. They've got a lot of untapped mana there. Okay, we take 6. We fall to 4. If I activate this fetch, that is fine. So, options. 1, we could draw the land. We are going to need to blast this. So we draw the land, and then we use this to stop this. This is in the yard. So we do have Murktide, but we don't have the ability to fly the frog, and we're fetching, so we're going to lose the life. So we're dead. So we do need to fetch. I'm just going to go ahead and fetch and attempt to pyro this on the stack. I'm aware that it could get countered, but, c'est la vie. There's a lot of thinking going on both sides of the table here as we try to navigate this mess that they have made with their crazy Buried Alive. Such a cool card. I love this art. Like, look at how ominous those people are. And the person's like, no! The scrape of shovels and the tumble of cold dirt soon muffled their pleas. Metal. All right, let's grab this. Yeah, it has to be a Volk. And here comes the blast you knew about. You probably don't care because you got me dead anyway, but if you do care today's, by all means, I'm like pretty dead either way. I'm going to still put up a fight. So we do get to surveil. That is not what we want to be drawing. So the cards that save us here, really just another DRC, I think is the only thing that saves us. A Fatal Push. We don't have a way to turn it on. All right. Actually, if we could somehow get this delirious, we could survive that way. Okay, actually, this does it. So this frog will sacrifice themselves, and then we can make both frogs fly. It sucks that we can't deploy the Murktide though. Let's see, if we deploy Murktide, we leave. Oh wait, we could. Okay, we could. Hear me out. So we pay all of our mana. We get Murktide up in the air. Get this bird in the air. Then we can jump the frog. Let's see. We'd use 4 of those. We'd discard 1 more, and we'd have 3. Unless I'm counting wrong. So let's do that. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Blue, blue. Does this resolve? Like, basically, everything has to line up perfectly for us to stand a chance here, or we're just dead. But they can't force here. But they can just easily Fatal Push to kill our frog, and we die. Right? And I will attack here. There's no point in not attacking, I don't think. Right? We are clinging to life. Clinging to life. And keep in mind, they can get that back if they have enough, if they have a critical mass of spells. I think it's 3 cards. Okay, so I would just discard this. All right, Thoughtseize away. All right, if they have 2 more spells. So Murktide, what is this? Yep, that does it. Good games. Let's go to, or good game rather. Let's go to game 3. We've got 15 minutes on the clock each. Even though that game 2 was pretty long, game 1 was really short. So now that I know a little more about their deck, definitely less inclined to take Force out. But, I mean, did I see them playing Preordain? It does make me want to bring this in. Yeah, I don't know what else we would cut. All these cards seem pretty good. Bolt is an answer to their cards. I mean, it might seem crazy, but I'm actually kind of thinking about taking out Pyroblast. I mean, Spellbomb can kill all their... Spellbomb can break up their combo too. I still think Force of Will stays out. It just feels wrong to board in Force against this deck. Because you can stop the Buried Alive. I guess... Yeah, I'm going to keep my my Graveyard Hate in. And you know what? I might just take out my Dazes. I know that sounds weird, but they're playing a lot of land. Apparently, they had tons of land that game. They were like literally, surveilling away land. They have Vexing Bauble main deck. I think I'd give them like as little Vexing Bauble equity as I can. Well, I'm on the play. I think actually it makes sense to keep the Daisies in. I could cut. I don't want to cut Frog. Frog is really good. Fatal Push, again, like, what's better, Pyroblast or Fatal Push here? I think Fatal Push is actually kind of weak here. Pyroblast hits the good things, and Fatal Push, yeah, I'll probably do it like that. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do 3 Fatal Push, 2 Pyros, probably. Yeah, I think that makes sense. All right, and I'd welcome, as always, your feedback on the sideboard decisions. If you think I'm like just crazy, not having forces in against the, turn 2, 9 power attacking you, haste deck, I totally welcome your feedback on that. But my sense is we stick to the plan and we just try to put better threats on the table than they have. This addresses their plan A, and we've got plan B covered as well. This seems super solid to keep. This also has plenty of lands, so I'm not worried about their wastelands. I'm going to go ahead and start by putting this out there, and if they want to force it, they can force it. I'll go ahead and start with the Pyroblast, or I'll start with the red land because the black land is actually more important to our long-term game plan with Frog. So I'm less sad if they somehow manage to waste all of our Volks. All right, and this will just chill for the rest of the game until there's like something on the stack or something happening that necessitates us cracking. I love Nile Spellbomb. It's just such a good card. Like, I can't believe it's existed for like 12 years. And I'm like, I mean, obviously I wasn't playing much before, but like, I think people are really just starting to discover and appreciate the sheer power of Nile Spellbomb. I know it's probably been played in Vintage for a long time and stuff, but it seems like super duper solid. It's like a serious upgrade on Tormod's Crypt. All right, they're thought seizing us, which is A-okay. We already have our most important card on the table. It'll be interesting to see what they take. Both of these are an answer to Frog. They might take Ponder just to slow us down. All right, they took Ponder. All right, so the other day I kind of like blinked when my opponent was going up with, and if you watch a lot of my videos, you may have seen this, when my opponent had a, my opponent had a Tamiyo on the table, and Tamiyo was taking up, and I had a Bowmaster, and my opponent was like, "You got a Bowmaster, don't you?" And they kept like drawing cards and stuff, and I didn't play it. And then at the last minute, I was like, "Oh, I'll play it." And then they were able to Tamiyo Ultimate like after they removed my Bowmasters. But like, I feel like if I just held out a little bit longer, I could have convinced them that I didn't have a Bowmasters in hand. And like surely they would have played Bowmasters by now. I've drawn so many cards and then gotten them. That was probably my only chance to win that game. Here's what I think we do. I think we waste. Just in case this is good. We're not doing anything here. We've got a Pyroblast. I might even blast one of their cantrips just to make it a little harder for them to string together lands. They do have Volks, which don't cast a lot of their key spells. All right. We could just wait a little longer. I don't want this to get dazed. They may not be playing dazed if they're playing Vexing Bauble, though. I think there's a good chance they have a Pyroblast. The upside of this resolving and Frog not dying, and I will pitch my hand to save Frog from a bolt if that's what they have. I think it's good enough that I'm going to try it. I fully acknowledge that it's likely this gets blasted or dazed. All right, it didn't yet. So far, so good. So what? Oh wait, actually, no. I don't know. I'm a mad lad. Let's get rid of everything but the Fatal Push. I think Fatal Push is the most flexible card in terms of stopping our opponent. Let's see. Stopping Frog. Okay. Cool. We can play it later. Just take my phone and go do something. I'll see you in a little bit, okay? I'm recording a video. You're stealing my water. Don't bogart the water. Okay. Yeah, I am going to discard. I was just thinking, like, what's better? I think Pyroblast is better. All right. And this could just be a ploy to, like, 2-for-1 us, essentially. And then next turn, they've got, like, a Fatal Push or something, or a Pyroblast. But I'm going to do it with the hope that this does get us there. They're waiting. Do they have, like, a Snuff Out? No, that won't work. I don't know what they're waiting for. But I'm happy that they're burning clock because I'm kind of low. I've got 12 minutes on the clock. This would have to be a very long game for that to matter. All right. So we have nothing going on except we're stopping their plan A, and we have a Psychic Frog that hopefully won't die here. That's fine. If they can find a Fatal Push, we'll be very sad. I feel like a significant portion of their normal interaction spells have to be taken up by the fact that they have a combo in their deck that probably takes at least 5 or 6 slots out of their deck. They're playing Dark Ritual, maybe like 8 or 10. I mean, they're playing a lot of air in their deck compared to me, where I'm just playing good cards. Like, this deck only plays objectively powerful cards, like in a Tempo Shell. I mean, Lightning Bolt isn't that powerful in this day and age, but it is good return for mana investment. I'm just imagining them sitting there looking at a hand of Dark Ritual, Buried Alive, free spell, or something like that. Maybe more Thoughtseizes or something. They've cast 1 spell this turn. They need 2 more, and it doesn't matter because I've got the Nile Spell Bomb. So I don't even think I need to really think about that anymore. I'm going to assume my opponent... I'll be charitable to my opponent and assume that they do have some line that doesn't involve the graveyard that they can kill me with. Okay, they are cracking. That's fine. They may have Dismember in their deck. They're probably a lot of... Okay, they're surveilling. This is great for me because this means I'm definitely going to connect with Psychic Frog here. They keep the card. All right. Frogtown, population 1. Can we get a second frog? That would be great. I think I'll just go ahead and swing and see what I draw before I do anything. Murktide would be insane here. A Borrower. Not sad to see that. I think we do dig for some sort of interaction like a Daze. If I find a second threat like a... We're going to have, we only have 3 card types, but we can discard the Borrower at any time to get a 4th card type. If I find a DRC, I'll probably play her. Psychic Frog is definitely MVP in this matchup, though. I mean, man, like already, those are good cards. The problem here is if they do waste us somehow, we're in trouble. I think I just take the Brainstorm now. The rest of these go on top because I would love to cast this Murktide next turn. All right, we'll pass. I don't care about drawing a card off this Nile Spell Bomb. Like, we're already well ahead with cards. I just need to close the game before they find some hyper combo finish. Ponder's fine. I'm not going to blast that. A Munchkin tickling me. What are you doing? Oh, yeah, you're tickling Daddy. That's what you're doing. All right. All right. What is this? Psychic Frog. I think I untap and I blast just to play around Daze. There's no reason to rush. I know what I'm drawing. I'm drawing a bunch of stuff. I think we go ahead and blast and then attack because I do want to draw that card. And, I don't think they're going to... I think they know that I have a blast in hand. That's why they were thinking so hard. Otherwise, they would just slam it. Let's swing in. I'm not going to discard cards. I just want to draw cards. Amass advantage. There's our second Psychic Frog. We have Brainstorm into potential Daze. We don't have any forces in our deck. I think it's a good chance that this dies, but if this dies, I'm going to murk like nobody's business. They probably have Pyroblast in their deck that they're looking for too. I mean, this Psychic Frog has already paid for himself like 3 times over, so I'm not too worried about it. He's already recouped the cards I pitched to him. He's done a lot of damage. They got a lot of mana. Another Brainstorm. So they have cast a lot of cantrips this game. This is their 4th cantrip. I've cast 2, and I have 1 in hand. So, as I've said many times on the channel before, in these kind of blue mirrors, you can often look at the graveyard and see how many cantrips people have played, and that'll give you an idea of who's winning. So, by that heuristic, they are winning. This is fine. I'm not going to brainstorm into days. I'm just going to untap and see what I draw. But like, I can always just overpower that frog if I need to. I'm way ahead on life. They're tapped out. Yeah, I can hit them for 3 plus 5. I can hit them for 8. So they're not quite dead, but I could crack the Nile Spellbomb now and then attack them for lethal, but they would just block. So yeah, I think it's basically a force block here. If they let it through, I will pitch everything and just win. Okay, yeah, and they agree. They're blocking. It's fine. They shouldn't put anything into it. Feeling good. Do I want to add to the board? I wouldn't mind finding a land here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to brainstorm while I know they don't have Orc. Yes. Okay. So we'll put back this in this, and then I'm just going to play a DRC around days. This will also add to the clock. Bobble is fine. Doesn't affect what we're doing. I think they're just going to draw through it. They're not. Okay, well, they're dead on board. They have to do something. All right, I am going to go ahead and attack with both. And then I'll just discard one of these frogs. They have interaction during my begin combat step. If they push this, then they turn this on and I get 3 damage. All right, so we're coming in with both of them. 4 blocks in case they have a Bowmaster, because I will discard to strengthen my my DRC here. And they should know that I probably have a creature in my hand at this point. I just want to make sure we get through the block step before I do it in case they do. This is their opportunity to Bowmaster. Because I could just, the second I pitch this card, she immediately gets the stats. It's not a stack-based thing once they see what gets discarded. Actually, no, it's part of the cost. So she immediately gets buffed. I do think likely that's the card they're thinking about. So I'll discard a Psychic Frog here, which the fact that I'm discarding a Psychic Frog should, probably. Okay, and then, so this is 7. I'm just going to be conservative. I'm not going to push to win here. You may say like, oh, that was unnecessary. You could have just won. But I would rather be certain that I'm going to win. Yeah, I've got Borrower up. I can flash and Borrower end step if they do something to disrupt my board too much. I could have definitely played a Murktide there, but it's okay. That's fine. They've got 2 cards left. Lethal on the table. They're going to start running out of the ability to fetch or force. That's fine. Yep, that's it. Even if they got rid of that, I would have just flashed in Borrower around days and hit them with that. And if they got rid of that, then I would have played the world's largest Murktide and a Frog. So I was definitely winning that match. Yeah, feel good. So we're 2-2. Let's go to the final round. All right. Our opponent is likely on Mystic Forge combo as of a few days ago. This is really scary. Glaring Fleshraker. We're going to have to put the pressure on them. Yeah, if they're on this, we just have to aggro the heck out of them. That's how we win. We don't have a good long game against this. We do have a Force in hand. We don't have a threat. We have a Wasteland, which could be good. We get Delirium. We can push. Is this good enough on the draw? I don't think it is. I'm going to mulligan this. I really want a DRC or a Psychic Frog. This is better. Still doesn't have a threat. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to bottom. I think we bottom Fatal Push. They only have 4 creatures in their deck. If they don't open... Yeah, we can try to find it. We've got lots of ways of killing a Glaring Fleshraker. Should be a short match, though. Oh, they're not on it. They're on something else. Okay, Vexing Ball is fine. I think they're probably on something like Show and Tell, Sneak and Show. Have they played that in the past? I'm not sure what this is. Okay, so like Necrodominance. Doesn't play basics. Omnitel. I think they're likely on Omnitel or something like that with that opening. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, just want to kind of like figure out what I need to be prepared for. I drew a Psychic Frog, which is really strong. I think I'm just going to go ahead and get the Underground Sea here, and I'm going to ponder. I don't know. What am I looking for? I'm looking for more pressure because they're almost certainly a combo deck. Wasteland would be good. Okay. This Force is good if they crack the bubble. I'm going to assume they're not going to crack the bubble. I'm just going to shuffle this. So we didn't end up coming out well from that exchange. We'll just have to see how slow their start is. We could be screwed. Vexing Bubble is a very powerful card. That's for sure. Okay. It's definitely looking like, this could be like, what's it called? High Tide or something? That's the only other deck I'm thinking. But I think most likely it's some sort of Show and Tell deck. The good news is those decks don't have much removal, so Psychic Frog should be able to connect a lot. In fact, I'd posit they likely don't have any removal. They're very likely pretty linear combo decks. Okay, yep. Ancient Tomb vibes all over the place. So I'm just gonna have to waste here. This card doesn't really help at all. I mean, I could blow up the Vexing Bobble. That'll be something I do in like 3 turns. I'm just going to waste, and then I'm going to ponder, and I'm going to try to find another Wasteland, I guess. These are good cards. I'll shuffle away. Yeah, I'll just do it like that. I mean, technically I should keep the days, but it doesn't matter. So next turn I am going to shuffle, get a Valk, and get Froggy with it. Okay, I think they are looking for lands. They probably have everything they need, and they just need the 2 more mana to be able to do that. Okay, they found an island. That's good for them. They're going to need another one. So we certainly could just Molten Collapse to get rid of this Vexing Bobble. That's a really weak play, especially because they may have to look for another land here. Yeah, I definitely don't want to draw the land underneath this. I'm just going to go ahead and... I can't imagine a world in which they crack the bubble, though. I think we just have to hope that they can't produce mana next turn that they need to be able to, and then we can Molten Collapse the following turn. But we want to be drawing and we want to be attacking. What I'm going to do, I'll probably pitch a lot of these cards to Frog just to speed up the clock. If they just have, there. I think we're dead. So this is Show and Tell. Oh, what's this? Whenever you cast an artifact spell, investigate. Activated abilities of artifacts you control cost 1 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1 mana. Okay, so whenever you cast an artifact, investigate. So create a clue. That's pretty good. This card looks pretty good. It's a 3-drop, so it's not really legacy playable just based on that criteria alone. But I can see like the clues and making things cheaper. Yeah, so obviously that's going to resolve. We can't interact with Vexing Bubble out. Another Bobble. Yep. That's fine. They get a clue. It's on the stack. So this is pretty scary because we can kill this and we can kill this potentially. If we get a fetch, we can kill one of their Bobbles. Okay, so I think our game plan is just to go full aggro here. Here's what I think we do. I think we attack, and if they block, great. If they don't block, we dump everything with the Murktide, and then we make the world's largest Murktide. Is that the correct play, though? That leaves us open to them just, show and telling or doing some combo. But this, so that we could make it an 8/8. That's pretty good. The other option is we brainstorm, we potentially find a fetch, we potentially Molten Collapse and kill these, and then we can attack in a draw. I kind of like that other option better. I'm going to tap this, brainstorm. We did find the fetch. I'll put this land back that we're unlikely to care about. I'll put this daze back. It's really past its prime here. All right. So we're going to get a Underground Sea here. And yeah, this card has been really good. Like, I was a skeptic when I saw it. It's 2 mana, it's a sorcery. But yeah, we can do both of these here. We're going to kill this and blow up one of these. Now we can attack. I could do the extra damage, or I could just take the card. We have 3 card types, but we're about to go down quite a bit. I think what I'm going to do, let's see, we make this 8 and we hit them for 3 now. They're dead in 2 turns pretty handily. I think Days of the Discard here. And then, let's see, next turn we hit them for, I have to do the math. My goodness. Okay, so let's say hypothetically, I don't think Tamiyo is going to matter this game, sadly. DRC could matter. No, I'm gonna pitch her too. Sorry, I'm not like adding all this on the fly because I don't want to be like, I'm not very good at combat math, admittedly. Okay, we drew a second Psychic Frog, which we can also feed to this frog, and then we can Merc next turn, or if we draw a land, we can deploy both. Is the Show and Tell another one? All right. Well, okay, and they're drawing a clue with their clue here. They do have a land drop to give. Okay. If they crack the bauble, I will try to find a force. Okay. It's a blue not famous for its removal suite. We can technically drop the Murktide and the frog here. Is that necessary? I mean, it does give us the most outs to just winning next turn. They can crack the bauble and then they can force. I think I'm just going to do the simple thing. It's late in the league. I'm tired. I had a full productive work day before this. I think I play this first just in case they have some sort of software mission. So we'll exile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Beefy boy inbound. He's got like a nice swimmer's body, like the long limbs and the lean torso. I'm just going to nickname him Michael Phelps. He looks like he can swim really fast. He is in the water there. Okay, I'll stop goofing off, and I'll think about how I'm going to attack here. I think the simplest thing to do is to fly this over. Now we're going to exile. We'll just exile these lands. They're easy to get if we do need Delirium for some reason later this game. Okay, the block. Do we want to discard a card? No. I'm going to play out a second frog here. My engine is faster than yours. And I want to make efficient use of my clock. I've already used a ton of clock this time just trying to like process like what they were on. So they are very dead on board. One ring would be good here if they have that. That would be like really strong. Basalt Monolith. Okay. Yep, they get a clue. I'm trying to think, is there some sort of infinite combo I'm missing here? Activated art. Oh, yeah, they have infinite mana now. Yeah, I didn't think about that. What can they do with infinite mana? They have clue. They have Vexing Bauble. They could draw like their entire deck here, maybe. Every artifact that comes out. Huh. Yeah, they have infinite mana. I'm just going to have 6. There's no point in... They're going to have to click a lot here, and I'm not going to be clicking alongside them. All right, so I will come back and say something when we figured out what they're going to do here. All right, Emrakul in the house, y'all. Here's what I think happens. I think what we do is we sack everything but the Murktide here. Actually, I'm trying to think. Maybe is it better to keep the second frog around? I don't think so. I think we just... I'm not sure what we could draw. They could do anything to help here. Oh, we could draw a lightning bolt. But we're not going to have a land and a lightning bolt. Okay, so I'm just going to... Murktide is our best shot. Well, let's see. Actually, no, Psychic Frog. Yeah, I think I have to sack everything but Psychic Frog. Well, let's see. Let's think about that. Psychic Frog could pitch 1. It could draw, and then it could potentially... No, I think we're done. I'm not going to play anymore. Because there's no... They're going to get another attack in following this. And they have infinite mana and lots of other things they can do. I'm not going to like time them out. They've got tons of time on their clock. I'm just going to hope to avoid a situation like that where they have infinite mana. Okay, so Pyroblast, easy choice against the all blue deck. I think with them drawing a lot of cards, Bowmasters is good. I think Force Negation, considering their deck is basically a combo deck. Meltdown, maybe not that bad. It can hit all their clues. Let's think. I'm going to think about that. These are the maybes. Cards that are coming out. We can get rid of Now Spell Bomb for sure. Daze is pretty bad here. That creature was 2/3, so Bolt can hit it. I think we could probably cut a couple of Fatal Pushes. That was the only creature we saw. Brazen Borrower seems good. Molten Collapse is very good here. We keep our forces in. I don't think we bring in Force Negation, because a lot of the spells we want to counter are, at least one of them is a creature. I think Daze is pretty bad against decks that have soul lands, but I think we could probably train a Wasteland. 3 more cuts. I'm not sure. We could cut a Murktide. I feel like Meltdown is going to be good against their deck, though, because it's one red mana or two mana and get rid of... No. Mom said you can't have the phone. Go do something else. Go do something creative. Okay. So, let's see. Anything else? Okay. Yeah, I'm really not sure what to cut. I like basically all these cards. I mean, Fatal Push is pretty bad. I think Fatal Push is the card to cut. Just because we do have blasts that basically serve the same purpose as Fatal Push. Fatal Push has to be turned on to kill that thing anyway. Yeah, I'm going to do this. So I'm keeping all the removal in. I did take out a Murktide, which maybe is a mistake. Maybe we should be killing them aggressively. But Tamiyo is, a win con that also disrupts all along the way. Yeah, this is the first time I played against this deck. This is exciting. I think I played against a different deck, another deck for the first time ever the other day too. So getting to try some different decks. This seems solid. We can put one of these lands away and we're just going to go Turbo DRC. Turbo Darcy. They could definitely have a back to basics or something, considering their deck is mostly basics. All right, so I'm just going to open Volk, Darcy, pass. And I will probably use this blast to aggressively try to get... you can maybe be able to hear my daughter playing piano. And my son clapping along. All right, Island. I definitely expect Hydroblast to be in their deck. It's a really good sideboard card. That is pretty damn good. All right, check this out. So we're going to go ahead and drop this first. Boom. Now, I'm going to drop this. And I'm going to see if I can get these Delirious. This is a card that I think we put in the graveyard because we want to put as many cards in our graveyard as possible. This goes in the graveyard as well. 3 types. Okay, resolves. I'll just look at... I guess I could look at my own top card. I'll probably find an opportunity to do that later. Okay, they've got the Gadgeteer, so I want to hold my Bolt. All right, and I'm just going to swing. Next turn, we'll be hitting them for 6, and this is basically the only win condition we need. They start playing artifacts. We've got Meltdown. See what we draw off the bobble. Daze is a great pickup. I do think we daze this rather than bolting. My reasoning being that we can hold the bolt to try to force through the last few points of damage if we need to. Bowmasters. Okay, they just conceded. Yeah, we were delvering them. That is what we call getting delvered. Okay, so let's go to round 3. Yeah, I mean, Bowmasters would have been great too. Their land was doing damage to them. I mean, Consigned to Memory does counter artifacts and stuff. Maybe it's worth playing that. It also counters triggered abilities. I don't know. I'm kind of inclined to keep the deck as it is. Daze feels really bad on the draw against their Soul Land deck. I think we do take that out. Yeah, maybe 1 Consign. Maybe a Force of Negation. Just because really we just have to stop their volley. It seems like their deck is really dependent on just a few cards. But I think they're going to be super careful to play around Daze. Game 3, maybe not. A lot of it'll come down to how much pressure we can put them under. I think I'm going to put Merc back in because I don't think they have removal, and like Merc can go the distance over 2 or 3 turns. So yeah, we added Consign, we added Merc, we took out the 3 Dazes. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. All right. And they are getting valuable playtesting against the deck that everybody says you should playtest against right here. This is a keepable hand. Yeah, I like the flexibility of it. I like the Psychic Frog. We have to find another source for it, but we do have the Bauble to do that, and we have a Brainstorm, so I'm going to keep this. Right, they kept 6. Grim Monolith is fine. I will be able to melt that down later. All right, I think I'm going to start by just looking at their top card. I'm trying to decide what to do here because we could waste the Ancient Tomb and set them back a lot of mana. But then if they have that creature, okay, they've got Vexing Bubble on top. I think we just hold. Meltdown could be really good here. So I am going to go ahead and Volk Ponder. What I'm looking for is just another land, and a Force wouldn't be the worst. Any Force. Force of Will being the best. This is not exactly what we're looking for. We have to, if we want to get Monolith, we have to go all the way for 3. However, they are down to like just, well, we know they're drawing Vexing Bubble. I think this is not what we need. This is more of the same. So I'm going to shuffle this. Yeah, maybe we draw a Force off the bubble. We'll see. But we're definitely going to need to survive for 2 turns here. Bolt is good because it kills that creature and instant speed. They've got tons of soul lands now. I think they're probably playing out their bauble first. They don't have colored mana. Basalt Monolith. Oh, please let me melt all this down. I'm so glad that we had Meltdown on our board. I've missed Meltdown. I haven't played a red deck in so long. Just because red is, probably the weakest color unless you're playing like straight red. Okay. So, options. 1, we could just get rid of the bauble. I think that's weak. 2, we can play this land out. 3, we could Brainstorm and hope to find a card, but we get punished pretty easily if we whiff. I think the smart thing to do is just play this out and pass. And now we have Brainstorm up, and if I might even end step Brainstorm here because I do want to find a land, and if I find a land, I really need 4 land to clear the entire board though. I think my opponent can get like instant speed. Like even if I bolt this, oh, there's the land. Yeah, they may have it. They may have the combo. But even if they have the combo, they still have to have like, the payoff card in their hand. So let's think about this. They have infinite mana, right? Like, let's see, how much is this to untap? This costs 4, but they have infinite mana off the Basalt Monolith. So they have to win this turn, basically, but they can win this turn. So options. 1, so I don't think it really matters. I think we just have to stop this. They have 1 card in hand. No, wait, Vexing Bauble means that we can't force. So they could draw off the Vexing Bauble. I'm going to just let them have it, and I'm going to see what they do here. If they start making infinite mana, then I will... they can't retap it. They can pay to untap it again. I think I just bolt here just to show them what's what. They must have something though. So they're going to pay a bunch of mana and they're going to redo that. And then they'll have infinite mana again. Yeah. Right. We're just going to have 6. I think we lost, sadly. The infinite combo is winning here. Vexing Bubble into infinite combo. And if their last card is Emrakul, that's just like a really sad way to go out. They could be just making a bunch of mana here. With the intention of drawing like off Bauble to see what their top card is. I definitely, I couldn't have wasted there in response or anything. Like, no matter what, they had the mana. They didn't even have to tap their Grim Monolith to create the mana. So we're just going to sit here and see what they do. There are so many cards they could have. Emrakul obviously ends it, but if they have, any X spell creature like a Walking Ballista or something, like their deck may just have like, it may be extremely dedicated to this very specific combo, and they just mulligan until they find this creature. Forensic Gadgeteer. Yep. I mean, I don't know if they even tested this and thought about like, oh, Basalt Monolith, really easy 2-card combo that's one color. Maybe they did. Maybe this, I don't think this is particularly strong. Like there's lots of ways to disrupt it. We just couldn't find any ways to disrupt it. Melting down wouldn't have helped. I guess I could have melted down last turn and then just drawn the force. No, I wouldn't have even been able to draw the force because Meltdown wouldn't have hit anything but the Vexing Bubble. I don't think it was right to cast Meltdown there. And this, I think, is probably the Emrakul. Yeah, they're starting to pay the mana now. So I think they do have Emrakul. No? Okay, now they cracked that. Okay, so... Okay, wow! 14 mana. Do they have Emrakul? They don't. Okay, wow. I'm glad we didn't concede. All right. Wow. Yeah. Let's see. What do we do here? Well, we got kind of a new lease on life. I think we brainstorm here and we try to find a black source because I would definitely love to get Bowmasters in here. We didn't hit anything, but we did hit negation. So negation is not nothing. Yeah, that sucks. Next turn, we're definitely going to want to ponder. So I'll just pass. And yeah, anything that like does anything substantial is going to get forced negation here. And we're just going to hope to ponder into a blue source. We will draw one of the cards off the top here. Okay, so they may just be drawing through this. I'm going to let it resolve because it does die in my Meltdown. But it is going to be a turn before I can do that. So this is a risk that we're taking here. But I do think that it's correct to ponder here and try to find a land. A fetch land, please. I've got 9 of them in the deck. I will take that. Yeah. I don't want this at all. This is somewhat redundant. I'll take this. Okay, we'll just play this out. And I still think the best thing to do is just Bowmasters in step. And then next turn, we can Vexing Bobble most of the board. But the Basalt Monolith is the thing we really need to hit. They're playing Disciplined. Okay, I'm going to Bowmasters and maybe they go ahead and crack the bobble. I just need to be efficient with my mana here. They could definitely hardcast force this. All right. All right. So we have Pyroblast. I think Meltdown hitting everything but the Basalt Monolith. Is that even good? Does that even matter? It does free up our force negation. If we wait one more turn, we might be able to wipe their entire board. We might not be able to. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I just want to get rid of this bobble and getting rid of the monolith at the same time is a-okay with me. If they do try to draw off of this, that's fine. It will buff my Bowmaster. I suspect they will. Force. That's fine. I can't do anything about that. They were very disciplined to not force the Bowmaster itself. If we get a turn, if they don't find their, they have 3 of those things left in their deck, and Cantripping is going to be painful for them. But I mean, they could just rip it, and then we're back into Infinite Town. Okay, paying some mana for something. Not paying some mana. Okay, they're passing. Every turn that our Bowmasters connect is a good turn. All right, land, please. I think we hold. We have Hardcast Force Negation. We have Pyroblast. If they have the thing, we can kill it on the stack before they can get infinite. Yeah, I mean, it's like a super slow way of doing it, but once we draw a land, I'll feel more comfortable. I mean, okay, leave a comment if you think this is a mistake. Like, we could create a beefy Murktide and basically end the game next turn. But, let's see. Okay, so if we waste this, they have 5 mana. That thing costs 3, but it's 2 less to untap. So they could play 3, and then they could still go infinite with it. So I don't think wasting is the correct call here. I think holding... So my thinking is, okay, we could play Tamiyo. No, Tamiyo's not going to do the thing that we needed to do. Because Murktide is basically like, okay, they have 1 turn to win. We're giving them several more draws, but we're tapping out of all of our interaction if we cast Murktide. I think we just wait another turn. Yeah, I'm going to wait a turn. Let me know if you think this is crazy. I do think Force Negation is a good card, and once we burn the Force Negation, I'll have no reason to keep the mana up, and I'll probably just use the mana. I want them to get desperate and crack this bauble. That's what I want them to do. Power Artifact does cause it to go infinite. I think what I'm going to do here is I am going to go ahead and force, and if they... Yeah, I'll pay the force, and there's no point in holding back mana. I don't think they play Daze. Okay, so I think the correct play here is to go ahead and force this and wait until next turn to use the Pyroblast. Okay, that worked. So now that I don't have that in hand, I could deploy the Tamiyo. I just want to land. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and attack, and then I will deploy the Tamiyo. It just doesn't really do anything, but it does create clues. I just can't. I'm not giving up on Pyroblast. Their deck is like solid blue. I think I'm going to play Tamiyo, and I'm going to waste the Tomb. They can only tap the Tomb like 1 or 2 more times. What are we doing here? I mean, it just limits their mobility a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to try it. Okay, and then let it go. If they have that guy, I'm going to blast him so hard, and they're going to have to tap their Monolith too. Is this him? It is. I'm so glad that I played patiently here. They may be able to force this, but even if they forced it, I feel like I played everything correctly here. Like, I did my best. Okay, they're cracking the bauble. They're drawing. We get a draw trigger here. Importantly, they no longer have enough floating mana to be able to activate their thing. They find the force. So he's in. Yep, that's scary. And they have a land. They can untap. They can go infinite, but they don't have anything to do with it. They can just untap their cards. I'm going to F6 through the turn. So we're basically at the mercy of their top deck. This is a freaking edge of your seat nail biter of a match. All right, but I do think that wasting was actually consequential there. Maybe was it? Maybe it wasn't. Had it not wasted, would they have maybe been able to hardcast Force? No, not necessarily. Yeah, okay. So best card in our deck would be another Pyroblast. All right, that is the best card in our deck. That is so good. Yeah, I'm just going to do it now. They have a lot of mana. Let's go ahead and see what we can do here. Attack with all creatures. They just conceded. I guess they can't win off just one draw. All right, we 3-2'd. That felt pretty good. Like those last 3 games, again, like sticking with the Be Excellent tradition of like completely getting, mopped the first 2 and then winning the last 3, right? I think that's how that's probably the most common sequence of events. So thank you for sticking with me through those brutal losses. Let's talk about our matchups and let's do a quick wrap up. So what we went up against here, I think if I recall correctly, we went up against Cradle Control, which destroyed us, and it was the creator of Cradle Control, HelloNewton. Absolutely savage that game. The second one was my memory is blanking now, but I know we went up against Delver. We went up against the Hooked on a Phoenix, and then we went against that combo deck. And the last 3 of those, oh yeah, I'm pretty proud of the performance in the Delver matchup. Yeah, exciting games, interactive games. I didn't play against any turn 0 combo decks. I didn't play against any naughty deck where you're just sitting there for like 20 minutes after they've green sunned and got their naughty and stuff. Again, I guess I've kind of come around on that, and I don't think that deck is like overpowered, but it is unfun to play against. I think all the decks we played against were actually quite fun and interactive. There wasn't a single one where I was just like, well, I didn't have a Force of Will in my opener, and I didn't know I needed to have one. So yeah, I love the deck. Felt extremely tight. I'm sure there are lots of opportunities to tighten up my play, but the fact that like a tempo deck can have reach, like can be winning in turn like 10 or something against combo decks, it feels really great. I think this is a great tempo shell. There was at least one occasion where we had the red mana, but we didn't have the black mana, and we died. And I think that is probably the biggest indictment of the deck, is that it does require red mana. But I'm going to keep experimenting with this. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me play more Grixis. I'd also like to play James Kisao's Grixis Control deck, which is quite solid, and it's very similar to my blue-black, but it's got a few extra tools. Like I think it has Molten Collapse. I think it's got Pyroblast in the board, and a few other good, just general purpose, cheap interaction cards. I mean, I don't have a single piece of suggestion for the deck other than that I need to get better at it. I genuinely can't think of any way this deck can be improved. The only thing I would consider doing, and I'm not sure if this is correct, would be like moving another Nals Ball Bomb to the main deck just because graveyard decks are so dominant, but maybe it's not as big a deal with this deck. I don't know, because it's running Molten Collapse. I mean, my intuition would be, the Reanimator deck, Reanimator matchup is just as bad as it is with blue-black control. So that's the only thing, like taking it out of Bobble and putting a Nals Ball Bomb in. And then, you know what card we don't even like I guess this is naive. I am not Ecobaronen. Like I didn't play this to a 5-0 and I haven't won Eternal Weekend and everything like that. But like if I just had to make a single change based on this, it would probably be to add a Grafdigger's Cage. I think Grafdigger's Cage is so solid against the Nadu decks, against the graveyard decks. But again, I'm speaking from a position of relative ignorance. But like this matchup, like this helps you get, I mean, it's not quite as explosive being able to Bobble immediately after you play your DRC, but this is so much better of a card than Bobble. It's not even funny. This completely warps games, whereas this is just like, a delayed, cantrip that lets you like see the top of your opponent's deck, which is not nothing, and you can use it. You don't even really need this with like Delver. You don't have Delver Secret, so you can't even do the Delver trick to like help you, flip your Delvers. It's like much less useful here than it is in other decks. So I would probably go like this and then use that extra slot to add a Grafdigger's Cage. That is literally the only feedback I have. I'm going to play test not with this build, but probably with Ecobaronen's build that he had originally. But I suspect after play testing for a while, I might come to the conclusion that it is correct to have a Grafdigger's Cage in the board. I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't want one. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this series of leagues. I hope you learned something. As always, leave comments with feedback on my gameplay. Leave comments with decks that you'd like me to play. I will consider playing any deck that has Force of Will and Brainstorm in it. That is my only requirement as a kind of control mid-range tempo player. It has to have like a sufficient density of blue cards because blue is my favorite color in Legacy. I think it's probably most people's favorite color. And I just love I love how blue makes every game a game, right? There are not really any non-games if you have blue cards in your deck. You're not just cursing, the top of your deck because it gave you a bunch of lands. You're choosing your destiny, right? You're manipulating the top of your deck. You're not just getting completely destroyed turn 0. You're stopping your opponent's glass cannon deck, and then you're quickly killing them before they rebuild, right? It just gives you a lot of additional reach. And, for any of the haters in the audience who are like, screw Daze, they should ban it. Like, you don't want to play in a format without Daze. Daze keeps all the craziness in check. Without Daze, people would just be playing black-red Reanimator, and everybody would be having a miserable time, right? So anyway, please leave your comment. Leave a comment on basically anything. Oh, and again, if you can subscribe, it will help me to get to 1,000. Once we get to 1,000, I'm not going to be asking for people to subscribe because I'll be hopefully in the MTGO creator program, and then I'll be able to play any number of different decks and use any number of cards, and I won't have to, work, grind really hard to be able to get Barogoyfs, which are like $7 in paper, but they're like so many tickets on MTGO, right? And I'll be able to play the One Ring decks. Like I do not own a single One Ring. I don't like the card, but it would be cool to like play test with One Ring, and I'm not going to pay like $60 or $70 to get like a virtual version of that card that I don't even like, just to be able to play test it on the channel. So getting into that creator program will be a game changer in terms of the variety of content that I can create, but you can probably rest assured that I am a Force of Will Brainstorm gamer, and you can pry these from my cold dead fingers. Like, this is the kind of magic I enjoy. So I'd love to hear your suggestions, any feedback you have, and until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.